Hey everyone, welcome to another Hollywoke Hot Take. I'm Tony D, and this is Little Joan. How you doing, Little Joan? You okay? Having a good day? We had some London broil again. It was delicious. Okay, the talk going on hiatus following Sharon Osbourne's defense of Piers Morgan. The co-host apologized for defending her friend Piers Morgan after he made a controversial remarks about Meghan Markle. Why? Why? Why does anyone have to explain why they defend their friend? If she's friends with Piers Morgan, wouldn't you expect her to defend him a little bit? And is criticizing the royal family, not even the royal family, somehow forbidden? This is insane. I thought Sharon Osbourne had more guts than this. She seemed like a gutsy woman. Apparently, she's folded like a house of cards. We are all committed to a diverse and inclusive, respectful workplace, CBS said in a statement. Who cares? Who cares? He was talking about Meghan Markle, and it wasn't even your employee. All matters related to Wednesday's episode of The Talk are currently under internal review. For what? She's friends with Piers Morgan, and she defended him. She has an opinion. So what? Is no one allowed to have friends anymore? Apparently not. But you apologize to these people, Sharon. You go down with the ship. So enjoy your woke whatever. You're going to lose your career anyway. You should have went out like Piers Morgan did. At least he stormed off the set and said, I don't need this F show. F show. The Oscars, diversified. Academy rolls out most diverse slate of nominees ever. Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Literally, no one cares. The only people who care about this stuff are on Twitter, and they won't watch it. They won't watch. They never watch anything. These are high schoolers, college kids. They don't watch TV. They won't watch. They'll go on the internet and watch clips later. You will have no ratings. No one's going to watch this. No one. No one cares. No one cares about these movies. The only people who get sucked in by this are the people who they still believe the media and they still read newspapers. Older people who just think, oh my, I guess these are the winning movies. They're picking them based on race. They're picking nominees based on race. They're picking projects based on race. They built all these projects based on race. And for all you woke people out there who think if you just act woke enough, you'll be spared, you're wrong. They're coming for you. They're coming for you. Let's see. Of the films nominated, Best Picture, Mank, I don't know what that is, was joined by Fernell's Promising Young Woman. I did see the trailer for that. Zhao's Nomadland. I saw the trailer for that, but I don't think I reviewed it. It looked kind of boring, quite frankly. Judas and the Black Messiah. I actually wasn't sure that was a real movie. I didn't realize it was a mainstream movie. It looked like weird and obtuse, and quite frankly, I didn't like the trailer, so I didn't look at that. I looked at it, but then I said, I'm not going to talk about that. Sound of Metal, I don't know. Minari, don't know. The Father, I don't know. The Trial of the Chicago 7. That one I did talk about quite a bit. And my views on, that's a disgusting ad. My views on Abby Hoffman and Sacha Baron Cohen playing Abby Hoffman. But here, history was made in the Best Director category. Only 5 women have ever been nominated in the category before. Zhao is the first woman of Asian descent to get a nod. Okay? So, who cares? Was the movie any good? She's going to win, would be my prediction, because that would be the most wokest thing possible. Think of the most woke outcome. That's what you're going to get. And it's a shame, because Hollywood was one of those areas that were pretty merit based. It was ruthless, it was cutthroat, but at least it was based on merit. At least talented people could break through. Not anymore. Now it's all about equity. Okay, make sure you support every one of those out of work actors, Hollywood. Every single one of them. Oh, it's only fair. It's only fair. Make sure you take the money from your stars and spread it out around all those out of work actors. It's only fair. That would be equity. Yeah, Joan. That would be equity. You know, all that money you big studio heads get, spread it all around. Because that's the only fair thing to do. Yeah. Suddenly, I think you're going to have a red pill moment when it comes down to that. But by that time, it'll be too late. By that time, the peasants will be at your doorstep with pitchforks and torches and probably a guillotine. At the rate these guys are going. And I can't wait to see the ratings for this year's Oscars. Ho ho ho! That's gonna be a disaster. And speaking of disasters in the rating, the Woke Grammy Awards sees ratings plummet 50% in early numbers reports. I actually watched a bunch of videos on this, including Yellow Flash, and he put it at about 7.8 million people, which sounds like a lot until you realize last year was about 17 million, and the year before that, 19 million. Oh my, that's not good. That's more than a 50% drop off. Oh, but wait, gets even better. The big show was a simulation, sort of a, I guess you'd call it a music video, but the theme was the riots. Oh, so woke, so wonderful, so progressive. Yeah, I'm sure that's what everybody who still watches television wanted to see. A recreation of burning down the cities. Yeah, Joan. I'm sure that's exactly what everybody wanted to see. On Twitter. But those people didn't watch the Grammys. They're watching it now in little clips on the internet, probably complaining about that too. The Grammys saw its ratings take a nosedive by more than 50% on Sunday, signaling the likelihood of another ratings fiasco for the record industry's biggest night, according to an early numbers report. WAP was one of the big songs. And I agree with Yellow Flash. He was saying that, he doesn't know the music anymore. Maybe he's too old for it, but I'm kind of in the same boat. I remember the Grammys have always been a joke, first off. They've always been sort of the second-rate Oscars. But back in the day, you'd at least have some breakout hits. I think probably the last breakout group, although they did have quite a bit of support, would have been Public Enemy, right? They were like a big band, a big phenomenon. I remember they were in Newsweek. They were analyzing the lyrics. People were all worried about them. And they were a big deal in their day. And maybe a couple others like them, because they were controversial. But over the last 20 years, it's all kind of been the same. It's all pretty much been the same. And anybody who usually is crass and vulgar, usually doesn't get nominated or brought in, right? But you can't get more crass and vulgar than WAP. And that was like the top of the charts, basically. But the big winner of the night was a song called I Can't Breathe, inspired by George Floyd. Maybe the song should have been I Really Love Fentanyl, because that's what he took, and that's probably why he couldn't breathe. He also had the beer virus, apparently, which was news to me. I was like, I heard that Like once or twice, and then I was like, it can't be right. No. Turns out he had the beer virus. He was dying of a fentanyl overdose. Oh, yeah, but the cops killed him. This is just, it's unbelievable to me how all these rap stars and musicians, they just get caught up in it and they just don't care. They just don't care. They don't care how inaccurate it all is. They don't care that buildings got burned down. This is the trend. They feel they gotta follow it, and you're following it right into a ditch. So good luck with that. I didn't watch the Grammys, of course. I just watch other people's criticisms of it. Natalie Portman rewrites classic fairy tales to make them gender neutral so children can defy gender stereotypes. Wasn't enough to ruin Star Wars with the prequels? Another reason I don't like Natalie Portman. And Thor. Sacha Baron Cohen scores 2 Oscar nominations for anti-Trump Borat sequel and Trial of the Chicago 7. The Trial of the Chicago 7, I can see. It's a drama. But Borat? Borat 2 is getting a nomination. What was it nominated for? He received first Oscar nomination for supporting performance as far-left radical Abby Hoffman. Okay. He's a really good actor. It makes sense. He scored an adapted screenplay nomination for Borat subsequent. It was an adapted screenplay adaptation? Adapted from what? Like, from what? Are they just... Do they just, like, sit in a back room and decide who gets the Oscars now? Is that the deal? Sasha's just, he's in the pipeline. He's big enough. He did the movies the studio wanted. He gets some reward. Is that how it works now? Because on the one hand, yeah, I could see the Abby Hoffman thing getting nominated, although I think it's, what I've seen of it, it looks inaccurate and overblown. But Borat? I mean, maybe the first one. The first one was genius, comedically. But the second one? Come on, man. Come on, man. Grammys. BLM activist demands justice, equity from Biden. Police shoot black man in back during politically charged performance. Rapper Lil Baby turned the Grammy stage on Sunday night into a riot scene. Ooh, so edgy. His song, The Bigger Picture, included a speech from Black Lives Matter activist Tamika Mallory, who looked into the camera and demanded President Joe Biden bring justice, equity, policy, and everything else that freedom encompasses. Freedom does not encompass equity. That's not part of it. Equity is not freedom. Equity is slavery. Because it requires you to enslave some people and give other people free stuff. And it'll never work. And it will cause nothing but problems and corruptions. Because the people who have to give that equity out will steal. Because they will be in control of what's even. What's equity. You'll never get it even. Let me ask a question to all these rappers and performers and musicians who've worked so hard to get where they are. You know literally dozens of rappers who suck. They didn't get anywhere. You going to give them some of your money? Because that's what equity is. You should give every other rapper, no matter how untalented, a portion of your money so they have as much as you. Same thing for every other successful rapper, actress, director. Are you going to do that? No, these people aren't going to do that. The mere suggestion of it would be, what? For me? Oh, I didn't mean me. I meant, the peasants. The people out there. Not in here. This is different. It's always different when it comes to you, right? Lil Baby set featured actor and Black Lives Matter protester Kendrick Sampson, who can be seen being shot as he runs away from actors posing as police officers. Rioters arrived at the scene to throw Molotov cocktails at a building. Supposedly, this was a reenactment of the guy who was shot in Wendy's, Rayshard Brooks. Except, apparently, and again, I didn't see it. I haven't seen the videos, but I've been seeing a ton of criticism of them. And they reenact Rayshard Brooks. I think Tim Pool has a rundown of this. But they don't reenact it correctly. Rayshard Brooks, in that video I did see, Rayshard fights the cops, right? They try to talk to him for a little bit. He's just hammered. I mean, he passed out of it in his car in a Wendy's, and they called the cops. That was the first mistake of the Wendy's employees. Don't call the cops. This is a libertarian solution. The manager should go outside, knock on the window, wake him up. I mean, it's your parking lot. You're in charge of it. The manager should have done this. Should have got him up, said, "Sir, you're drunk. We cannot serve you. Please park your car. Please leave the premises," or whatever. Instead, they called the cops. The moment you call the cops, you have invited armed men to solve your problem. And when the problem goes tits up, as it did, somebody can get killed. And you have to understand that going in when you call the cops. So, now, that being said, I think the cops were totally justified in shooting him. This guy fought them. They tased him. They seemed to be doing their best to hold him, and he ran with a taser. He got a taser off a cop, fired at them, and they shot him. You take a weapon off a cop, that's it. That's the line. You take a weapon from a cop. It's one thing if he just ran away. If he just ran away, and he didn't have any weapons on him, the cops should never have shot him. He had a taser. He could have run into the neighborhood, drunk as he was. He could have shot somebody with the taser and killed them. Again, who would be responsible, is what Tim Pool would say on his video. The cops would be. Everybody would be screaming, "Oh, why didn't you stop him?" They stopped him by shooting him because he fired a weapon at them. A weapon with the potential to kill somebody. They reenacted it. Their reenactment was a total lie. Because they live in a fantasy world in which cops hunt black people exclusively. That's all they do. They never do anything good. Right? We have libertarians who are that way. They think all cops are jackbooted thugs who are out to get you. It's not true. Are there bad cops? Absolutely. And there are solutions to rein them in. Disbanding them is not a solution, as you can see by the recent spikes in crime in all the major cities and all the Democratic areas. Oh, but don't worry. Joe Biden's going to rain down your tax money on everybody to solve the problem. Comedian Bill Burr mocks Grammy Awards with anti-woke wisecracks. Feminists are going nuts. God bless Bill Burr. Thank you, Bill Burr, for just bringing some sanity to it. I don't know why they would invite Bill Burr. This shows you the laziness of Hollywood, in my view. In my view, they probably had Gina Carano on the short list because they wanted somebody from The Mandalorian. And then when she got canceled, they went, well, who else is on that show? Bill Burr. Oh, yeah, let's get Bill Burr in. What does he do? Oh, he's a comedian. He's on the show. Oh, great. He could do a set. Without ever seeing Bill Burr's comedic genius at all. Because if they had just looked at some of Bill Burr's stand-up, they would have went, ooh, let's not ask him to do stand-up. Because there was no way this was going to go well for Bill Burr. I can't believe he hasn't been canceled up until this point. I think the only thing saving him is, I believe it's either his wife or girlfriend is black. Let's see what he said.
All right. Hey, how many feminists are like going nuts? So why is this cis white male doing all this Latino stuff? And the Grammy goes...
So what? I mean, that was barely a joke. That's barely a joke for him. I mean, he could have done, I'm sure he could have done 2 hours on it. These people, nothing will stop them until everyone stands up to them. Everyone has to stand up. Everyone. Everybody has to stand up and be a grown-up and say, no. No more. Done. You're done. Be done. You're not in Hollywood anymore. You're gonna put up with this, or you're gonna shut up. That's what needs to be done. A line needs to be drawn. So far, nobody's really drawn it, especially out in Hollywood, where they're all sort of playing the line. Like Sarah Silverman's, she's sort of stepping back now. I think that's mostly because she's been partially canceled, and now she's losing work. And what other choice does she have? Right? Bill Burr has always sort of been on the line. He's still trying to make tons of money. I don't blame him, but until people start walking out, just big names, just say, no, I don't want to do this. This is woke. It's stupid. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm going to the Daily Wire to make a movie my way. That's what's eventually going to happen. Grammys, I Can't Breathe, inspired by George Floyd, wins Song of the Year. Look at this. Look at this picture. Oh, no. I mean, it's just stupid. It's just dumb. It's basing a song on an event, on your perception of an event that wasn't accurate. Yes, George Floyd said, I can't breathe. It was because he was dying of a fentanyl overdose. He had beer virus. Now, again, maybe the knee on the neck didn't help, but according to the autopsy, it's not really showing that the neck thing really was the blame. So, I mean, again, there's so many people who have been unjustly murdered by the police. Why do you focus on a guy like George Floyd? There's so many other cases. It's the laziest possible solution to a problem. And it's doing nothing but hurting the cause. The cause to reform the police cannot be built on the back of George Floyd. He's too imperfect. His situation was imperfect. Same thing with Breonna Taylor. Same thing with the guy who survived, who's paralyzed. I forget his name. And Brooks, that they reenacted. These people were not examples of innocent people who got shot or killed. George Floyd wasn't innocent. He took a lethal dose of an illegal drug. He was in the middle of a commission of a crime. Now, you might say, well, he didn't deserve to die. I'd agree with you. Nobody deserves to die. But if you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. And one of them is you could die. You can get into a fist fight and die. It's dumb. You could slip on the ice, crack your head open, and that's the end of you. There are lots of ways to die. Taunting the police is definitely one of them. And this is just, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because I remember the era when artists and writers and songwriters and performers, they knew who the enemy was, what the causes were. They had the moral high ground. Okay? Even if they looked ridiculous, they had the moral high ground. These guys don't have the moral high ground. They just latch on to whatever's popular, in my view. Grammys feature Farrakhan fan Tamika Mallory ejected from Women's March for anti-Semitism. I can't believe that happened. That's crazy. You're going to cancel Bill Burr for an offhand comment, but you invite her to the Grammys? What's wrong with you? Who produced this show? COVID Grammys, mouth swabs, security scolds, maskless media. I mean, that didn't help. Rachel Maddow wins Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album. There you go. That's the Grammys in a nutshell in 2021. This is it. I mean, it's just 100% political, and that's it. How's that working out for your ratings? Not so good. I bet next year you're going to have a lot of angry ex-sponsors going, oh, you're going to sponsor the Grammys this year? No. But why? Oh, last year I sponsored the Grammys. I paid all that money. You got less than 8 million viewers. Well, we lowered our rates. Yeah, keep lowering them. Yeah, the Grammys are in big trouble. Well, that was COVID. Well, yeah, it should have been triple the ratings. Everybody was stuck at home in half the states, except in Florida and a few others. Yeah, the Grammys are in big trouble. Television is in big trouble. Keep giving awards to Rachel Maddow, and who else got one? Oh, wait. Cuomo got an Emmy, right? Yeah, an Emmy. And what does this all lead to? Well, here's Kamala Harris praising youths for wearing masks at Nickelodeon's Kid Choice Awards. She didn't even rank high enough to get to the Grammys. She had to go to the Kids Choice Awards. Oh, God, just looking at her picture, it's scary. VP Kamala Harris appeared on Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards Saturday. This is how out of touch these people are. Oh, we'll have the vice president on. That'll be a big thrill for the kids. No. It's absolutely insane. People aren't watching TV. They barely know who's on the Grammys. Kids they're not interested in the vice president of the United States. It wouldn't matter who it was. Not even Trump could have pulled in ratings at the Kids Awards. What has happened to you, Hollywood? Your brains are broken. I think a lot of it has to do with the nepotism in Hollywood. I think a lot of the people who run the town are the sons and daughters and grandchildren of people who have run it in the past. And I think the smart ones left a long time ago. You know, they left with their money. They realized how fake and phony everything was, how, you know, they didn't really need this. They made tons of money. They weren't artists. So they left. They took their millions and they moved into other areas of the country, you know, invested wisely, hopefully, and got out. The smart ones. The dumb ones stayed because they said, oh, this is where my family made all the money, and they have to accept me in Hollywood. And I've met people like that, and they're awful. They're absolute trash. They are talentless leeches who extract money because of their family name. And the studios still go with that. There's a clique in Hollywood of legacy people, and they hire and fire each other every day, and they're still worth millions of dollars, but they have a high overhead, so that's not much there. So they scramble. Yeah, Joe, they scramble. Even though they're worth a few $1 million, they still got to scramble because they got a very high overhead there. I know, Joan, it's a high overhead. So I think those are the people running Hollywood now. It's the last vestiges of, you know, these legacy families, and most of them are just incredibly incompetent. They're lazy, spoiled rich kids who think, you know, they do the laziest things. And that's why the Grammys, music, TV, movies haven't really gotten much better. They just do whatever, you know, their polls, their focus groups tell them to do. And right now they're listening to Twitter. So keep listening to Twitter, because I'd like Hollywood to move someplace closer to New Jersey.